It's good for the Kleenex business.
Brookfield Town Meeting. But before we go through the normal course of business, we're going to have the presentation of the Brookfield Town Cane.
Bob. You need me.
I need you.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Lovely day, lovely day. All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bob Stravasic. I'm a member of the Heritage Commission. Today is a very special day. A very special day. This is the Brookfield Town Cane. It's bestowed upon our eldest resident, but more importantly, it's bestowed upon our most cherished resident. Since 1986, there have been 8 recipients of our town cane. And we are gathered here today to honor its 9th. So who is this 9th recipient? I think that's important. She was born in Burlington, Vermont in 1930. She majored in political science at the University of Vermont. She was a member of the Pi Beta Phi fraternity. Say that 6 times real fast. Try that. She married, raised 4 children, moved to Brookfield in 1990 after 20 years of service with the federal government. She created our first town newsletter. And she chaired the trustees of the trust funds. She loved genealogy. A couple of years ago, she discovered a book of family letters that spanned the years 1903 to 1909. She transcribed those letters and published a book. If You Talk of Love to Me. If you've ever done genealogy, that can be a headache. And I can only imagine as she sat down and read these family letters, I'm sure a tear or two was shed. was her true love? What was her true love? It's on display on Governor's Road. Leave here at the fork, stay on Governor's Road, get past Moose Mountain Road, and about a half mile on the right, this kaleidoscope of color comes out of nowhere. It's a painting. Roughly 1,500 daily. I plant 8 in my backyard. Okay? And I'm glad if one comes up. There's 1,500. A true passion. She's a true pillar to this community. It's customary that one of our town board members make the presentation. I'm going to ask Ed Goffier, our outgoing chairman, to step up here in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to please rise. I think I'm going to cry. On behalf of the Board of Selectmen, the Brookfield Heritage Commission, and you the people, I now introduce to you the 9th recipient of the Brookfield Town Cane, Martha Louise Atwood Pike.
On behalf of the selectmen and the town of Brookfield, I present to you the Brookfield cane.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's lovely. Everyone can come and look at it.
Certificate that goes with that, you want to?
My goodness.
If you would. Thank you very much.
So that concludes the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
All part of the experience.
Wait, Martha, before you sit down, thank you, Bob, thank you, Martha, and now everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Martha, join us in. Pick a flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much right there. Maybe you could hold it.
All right. Now, while you guys are all getting situated, I'd ask for a moment of silence for all the townspeople that passed away over the last year. And I'm going to make a special shout out to Jenny McKinley, who was the first person to harass me to be moderator before I had even fully walked into the town hall. Thank you. Now we're going to introduce the selectmen who are never sitting in the order in which I write this down. The chairman, Ed Goffier, seated in the middle. The vice chair, Rich Zacher, farthest from me to my right. And selectman Austin Feifeld, closest to me. If we have any new town residents, feel free to stand up and introduce yourself. You don't have to.
Yeah, John Hession and Valerie Misha, we moved here this summer and we're really happy to be here.
Hey guys.
Welcome.
Welcome. All right, if there's anyone So don't do it. You have to be a registered voter first. And before I continue, I'd like to stop and thank all of the town officials whose terms will be concluded at the end of today's meeting. Thank you for your service. All right, and on a related topic, I'd ask that any new town officers to meet with me at the conclusion of the meeting after everything is done so I can swear you into your new positions. The rules for the town meeting are available both on the town's website and are printed in the town report on the inside cover. And now that I just said that, I'd kindly entertain a motion from the floor to waive any formal reading of the rules.
Someone did.
Yeah.
Second.
Who was the first? What's your name? Brad Williamson. Who seconded it?
Mike Moore.
Mike Moore. Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, despite what I just said, I'm going to point out some stuff. So if you wish to be recognized, raise your hand or stand up. Once you are recognized by the moderator, please state your name in full. That way Karen and everybody can keep a good record of this, and if you need it for the minutes. And it's a rule, so you have to do it. Discussion occurs through the moderator, so me, and not at each other. We keep it civil here, when we can disagree without being disagreeable. I said that right the first time. All right. I'm now going to read the results from last Tuesday's town election. For selectman for 3 years was Jan Ledbetter with 163 votes. For trustee of the trust fund for 3 years was Susan Weisky with 168 votes. For cemetery trustee for 3 years was Roberta Holland with 168 votes. For planning board, we have 2 for 3 years. We have Ed Ingalls with 161 votes and Donna Fawcett with 155 votes. For planning board for 1 year, we have Stephen Barry with 160 votes. For supervisor of the checklist for 6 years, Christine Levesque with 168 votes. For library trustee for 1 year, Meg Ingalls with 162 votes. I will now read through the warrant articles that passed and their results from the ballots. First was Article 2. Are you in favor of amendment number 2 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance as proposed by the planning board as follows? To amend the provisions regarding home occupations and workforce housing overlay district and the definition of a single-family dwelling to replace references to family with references to household, and also to add a definition of household as one or more persons living together in a dwelling unit, as state law now prohibits towns from regulating the occupancy of properties based on familial relationships. A majority vote was required. This was by ballot. The planning board recommended it, and it passed with 149 votes. Article 3 was, are you in favor of amendment number 3 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance as proposed by the planning board as follows? Amend Article 2-A1D regarding accessory dwelling units or ADUs to allow detached ADUs and to remove the requirement for a door between an attached ADU and the single-family dwelling unit, both as required by state law, and also to provide examples of the town regulations that are applicable to the combination of the single-family dwelling unit and the ADU. A majority vote was required by ballot, and the planning board recommended it. It passed with 150 yes votes. For Article 4, are you in favor of amendment number 4 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance as proposed by the planning board? Amend the definition of a butter to parallel the changes made to state law. A majority vote was required by ballot. Planning board recommended it. That passed with 153 yes votes. Article 5. Are you in favor of amendment number 5 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance as proposed by the planning board as follows? Amend Article 2, Districts A-RA zone, the rural agricultural zone, 1, permitted uses to allow family and group family child care programs as an accessory use to any primary residential use, which is required by state law. Majority vote was required by ballot. Planning board recommended it. That passed with 151 yes votes. Article 6. Are you in favor of amendment number 6 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance as proposed by the planning board as follows? amend REC-1 recreational lot and dimensional requirements to limit residential facilities and/or cabins and summer youth recreation camps to 2 stories above grade as required by state law. A majority vote was required. It was by ballot. Planning board recommended it, and it passed with 163 yes votes. Article 7. Are you in favor of amendment number 7 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance proposed by the planning board as follows? To reduce the on-site parking requirements for multifamily workforce housing from 2 spaces to 1 per unit as required by state law. A majority vote was required by ballot. Planning board recommended it, and that passed with 126 yes votes. All right, last one. Article 8, are you in favor of amendment number 8 to the Brookfield zoning ordinance as proposed by the planning board as follows? Add size restrictions for all permanent signs to Article 3E. Signs will be limited to 10 square feet, excluding support structures, but may be double-sided, and shall be no higher than 10 feet from grade. Signs shall be placed so as to not create a hazardous situation. All permanent signs erected prior to the passage of this article are grandfathered. A majority vote was required by ballot. Planning board recommended it, and that passed with 153 yes votes. Okay, now turning to the warrant articles that we will be voting on today. I'm going to read Article 9. 2C. If the town will vote to modify the term of the elected supervisors of the checklist from 6 years to 3 years per RSA 41:46-A, the change will be effective when the next existing elected term expires in 2028. A 3-year term will be on the election ballot in 2028 and yearly beginning in 2030. A majority vote is required. The selectmen recommend this article, and Ed is going to speak to it. Take it away, Ed.
The supervisors of the checklist requested that we put this warrant on. It's a 6-year commitment. That is a pretty long time, and they felt that it was better for them and for the town if we brought it back down to a 3-year term, which is consistent with pretty much every other office that we elect.
All right. Is there a motion on the floor for this article?
I'll make a motion we accept as presented.
All right. Motion by Ed. Do we have a second?
I'll say.
Can you stand and say your name?
Chris Stratton.
Go Stratton with a second. All right. I will now open the floor for debate on warrant article number 9. Seeing none, are you ready for the question? Yes. All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. All right, moving on to Article 10. To see if the town will vote to amend the term of office for the town of Brookfield trustee of the Gaffney Board of Trustees from a 1-year term to a 3-year term, so that aligns with the recently revised Gaffney Library Trustees bylaws. A majority vote is required, and the selectmen recommend this article, and Ed is going to speak to this one as well.
As it states in here, Gaffney recently revised their requirements for service, and from a 1-year term to a 3-year term. So that's what we're doing. We're modifying this term to a 3-year term to be consistent with Gaffney's requirements.
All right. Is there a motion on the floor for this article?
I'll move to accept as presented.
Ed, is there a second?
I'll second. Susan.
Thank you. All right, I will now open the floor for debate on warrant article number 10. Seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. All right, hearing none, warrant article 10 passes. All right, Article 11. To see if the town will vote to modify the provisions of RSA 72:35 for an optional tax credit of $1,650 for a service-connected total disability from $1,400 to $1,650. This tax credit shall replace the Veterans Tax Credit, the All Veterans Tax Credit, the optional tax credit for combat service, and the tax credit for certain disabled veterans, and shall not be in addition thereto. If approved, this article shall take effect for the final 2026 property tax bill. A majority vote is required. The selectmen recommend this article, and Rich is going to speak to it.
Yeah. I want to do it a little differently. If you turn to page 45 in your town report. Right up top under MS1, you'll see there's 5 different types of veterans credits. And in the past, veterans could participate in 2 of the credits. The state changed the law this year. You can only participate in 1 of the credits. So the credit for the 1,400 used to be 1,400 for that line and $250 for being a veteran, which grossed up to $1,650. What we're doing is making the 1,400 $1,650, which is equal to what it was in the past. That's the only change in the veteran credits.
All right. Do we have a motion on the floor for this article?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Rich Sacker. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. And can you stand up and say your name?
Austin Bassett.
All right. Thank you, Bob. All right. I'll now open the floor for debate. All right. Seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing none, the motion carries. Warrant Article 11 has been approved. All right, moving on to Warrant Article 12. To see if the town will vote to modify the provisions of RSA 72:39-A for elderly exemption from property tax in the town of Brookfield based on assessed value for qualified taxpayers to be as follows. For a person 65 years of age up to 75 years, the exemption will remain $50,000. For a person 75 years of age up to 80 years, from $45,000 to $65,000. For a person of 80 years of age or older, from $60,000 to $80,000. To qualify, the person must have been a New Hampshire resident for at least 3 consecutive years, own the real estate individually or jointly, or if the real estate is owned by such person's spouse, they must have been married to each other for at least 5 consecutive years. In addition, the taxpayer must have a net income of not more than $75,000, an increase from $50,000, or if married, a combined net income of not more than $90,000, an increase from $60,000, and own net assets not in excess of $75,000, excluding the value of the person's residence. A majority vote is required. The selectmen recommend this article, and Rich is going to speak to it.
Again, on page 45, let's look at the table. In the middle of page 45, you'll see an area called elderly exemption. And these, you'll see on the left the brackets, age brackets, and then the amount. So what we're proposing is for 75 to 79, that 45 would become 65. The 80 plus would become 80 under the amount. And down below it, on income limits, for single, it goes to 75 from, can't quite read it, it goes to 75 from
25.
25, thank you. And for married, it goes to 90 from 30. And then the asset limits go to 75 for both married and single. And that excludes the person's primary residence and 2 acres of land. After that, it's considered. So what this does is give some tax relief to some of the older people in town that might be strapped a little financially. It reduces the assessed value of their property. It doesn't, it's not an outright tax rate as such. So if you get a $50,000 assessment reduction, that's 51,000. 50 times about $15 on our tax rate would be a $750 reduction in their tax bill. That's the magnitude we're talking. It goes up a little higher as you get older. We recommend that we change the numbers. They haven't been modified in 20 years.
Is there a motion on the floor for this article?
I'll move it.
I have a question.
One moment, we're going to have to get a second first.
Oh,
All right, so
second.
motion on the floor is Rich. Do we have a second?
Second?
Ed. All right, please stand and state your name.
Gus Stratton. The question I have is about how do you determine assets in excess of 75,000? Like, is it just reportable assets like stocks, bonds, what have you? Or could it be art collection? Could it be gems, whatever?
And very good question. There's a form we have to fill out. We have to present it to the assessor. I don't know about art collections. I know that delinquent assets and bonds and that.
Right.
That type of asset is reported. It's a very good question about.
So would this apply only to reportable assets, or we don't know?
I don't know. Sorry. Good question.
All right, any further debate or comment or questions on this article? All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing none, the motion carries. Warrant Article 12 passes. Warrant Article 13. To see if the town will vote to discontinue the Parks and Recreation Equipment Capital Reserve Fund created by 1991 warrant article number 15. The remaining balance of $7,700 plus interest to date of withdrawal is to be transferred to the 2026 Brookfield General Fund. Majority votes required, and the selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Ed is going to speak to it.
In 1991, warrant article 15 created a trust fund with the intent of using it to purchase parks and recreation equipment. That never came to fruition. The money has been sitting in that account for, do the math, what are we at, 24 years, something like that, 24, 34 years. And it's not doing the town any good. This article will close out that trust and put the funds back into the general fund, which will go to offset taxes for this year.
All right, is there a motion on the floor for this article?
I'll move to accept as presented.
Ed, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Graham Williamson.
Graham Williamson with a second. All right, I will now open the floor for debate on warrant article number 13. All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. Warrant article 13 passes. Yes.
Going back to the article I just talked about, for the elderly exemption, because we passed that, that becomes effective this year, and all candidates that want to participate should get the forms in by April 1st of this year with the assessing office. You know, if you satisfy the requirement, you'll see the benefit this year. Don't have to wait.
Thank you for pointing that out. All right, warrant article 13 passes, and I'll move on to article 14. All right, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $62,000 for the purpose of design and repair of the Moose Mountain Bridge, and to authorize the withdrawal of $62,000 from the Moose Mountain Capital Reserve Fund, parentheses bridge, created by warrant article number 13 on March 12, 1991, and renamed by warrant number 17 on March 8, 2016, with an estimated value of $62,000. Majority vote is required, and the selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Ed is going to speak to it.
This fund was created a long time ago for the purpose of fixing up the Moose Mountain Bridge. Anybody that is familiar with it knows that the wing walls on the side have been undercut from erosion, and one of the base pillars in the foundation has also been undercut by erosion over the years. It's on the state's red list, which means it's a bridge that is in need of repair. It's still passable. Red list does not mean that it's in danger of falling down. It's solid, it's secure. However, time is not on our side. That bridge is going to erode further. So what we've done this year is we contracted, not contracted, we met with the designer who gave us some preliminary information on what the design would cost and approximate numbers on what the construction cost would be. The cost for it, the design part, is $207,000 plus or minus. So what we need to do is withdraw from this fund, which was created for the purpose of repairing that bridge, $62,000. We'll get to the Article 15, it's going to be a very similar thing that just has enough money. The point being that there'll be no additional taxes raised to pay for the engineering design, which will include permitting, environmental permitting, and a bid package and package evaluation as well. So the bid package is what we'll get to send out to contractors to do the physical construction repair of it. This $62,000 is going to be part of the payment for that engineering design.
All right, is there a motion on the floor for this article?
So moved.
Ed, is there a second?
Second.
Can you stand up and say your name? We just said second.
Dick Peckham.
June, thank you. All right. I'll now open the floor for debate on warrant Article 14.
I'm sorry, Susan Ravian. Ed, I missed the amount, the total amount it was going to cost that $62,000 would go towards.
207.
Thank you.
I didn't hear the question.
What was the total amount that the 62 is going to go towards?
The total amount for the design, it'll be $207,000. And
I
change.
missed that, so thank you.
All right, leave us on another hand. Yes, Gus. Still say your name.
Gus Ratton. I wanted to know what the balance is in this fund that existed for many, many years, from which we're withdrawing these funds, so that we're not hit with a surprise years down the line.
The current amount in the fund is going to be $62,000 plus whatever interest is accrued on it. It's going to be just chunk change after that. In 2027, we will more than likely close out that account. So we're essentially going to bring it down to zero, near zero, and then close it out next year.
All right, so there won't be any need to finance further in the future.
Not for the design project.
Okay. Yep.
Bill Nelson, I'm assuming that question was just answered, so this pays off the design. How much do you say it's going to cost to actually do the work?
The physical construction, the engineer gave a guesstimate. They're in a much better position than any of us here in this room to come up with a number like that. Said that it would be between $400,000 and $500,000 for the physical repair. And that's something that we'll have to address next year.
Well, look, having been a selectman going way back then, I remember when it was a lot cheaper. So I don't think we should keep putting it off. It's a lot of money that we have to spend. And maybe worth since 25 years ago, whatever on this, but it was much cheaper.
Yeah, the issue with that is that we can't keep up with inflation and the cost of doing the work. So the longer you put it off, the more money you're going to save. And then when you save up enough money for what it was 5 years ago, it's no longer that price. It just keeps going higher and higher. So at some point, And that's really how the can got kicked down the road to where we are today. At some point, we need to say, let's fix it.
Yeah. Rich?
This warrant article and the next warrant article are fully funded this year. But the question that Bill asked about future funding is very important, that the work done, if these articles pass, will give us construction plans and permits that are only good for 3 years. So next year, we're going to have to figure out, we'll have a plan, how we're going to fund the next level. But really, we have to think about, we're going to have to fund that level or this money is wasted. The work expires. So we're really talking about this year, but we know we're going to come back next year and say, here's our plan for funding $500,000.
Frank Fraser, Lyford Road. I think it's important, in case there's new people here that don't know, we've been talking about this for a long time. It's been on the red list for at least 10 years, more like 12 or more years, of the state red list. It has not been insured. Our insurance company dropped insurance on that bridge at least 10 years ago. So we've had this liability hanging over the town for a long time. So I'm sorry to build the point, but we need to get it fixed and not wait any longer for that point of view alone. Thank you.
Next question. Are there government grants?
Can you say your name?
Oh, Pam Steffington.
Thank you.
Are there government grants available or state grants that you can access to help with the building or the new construction after, if this passes and we look at $400,000 or $500,000 necessary to actually do the repairs within the next 3 years? Is there any way to access any assistance from the state or feds?
That'll be, as Rich mentioned earlier, that'll be part of the evaluation that will occur this year. But that'll be considered. What we've experienced in the past, though, is when you get the government involved in a $500,000 project, it becomes $1.5 million, not $500,000. There's so much red tape, regulations, that it probably wouldn't. But it will be evaluated. It will be considered to see if there is grant money available.
So that giving us information about grant availability will be part of the $207,000 package. They'll tell you where you can access the money. You know, with the bright window behind you, Rich, I can't see your face. Is that a no?
Yeah.
You really can't go out for bids or grants until you know what the cost is going to be, because all the grant money says how much is the project going to cost and how much do you want against that. And we won't have that data until, well, if the contract's approved, they want 6 to 9 months to do their work, then you go out for bids. And was it take 2 months, 3 months to get the bids back? So next year at this time, we should have a good number based upon bids and contracts. And then you can look at grants, and we will look at grants, we'll look at all funding sources.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes, please state your name.
Donna said, I think it is critical to do this. I shudder every time I drive down that Governor's Road and see a school bus turn on the road. And I know that little bridge. But I guess my question is, typically with permits, there is an extension period. Do you know that the extension period that's allowed if we go past the 3 years and permit period?
I think it's premature to answer that question. We don't know. It's something that we would have to consider, and we certainly would ask if we're in that situation a year or 2 years from now.
And I'd like to make another comment. We're not replacing that bridge, we're repairing it.
Right.
So what you see on the surface, on the top of the road, is not going to change. It's all work down at the footing level.
All right, any further discussion on this hot topic? All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes and warrant article 14 is approved. All right, warrant article 15. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $145,000 for the purpose of design and repair of the Moose Mountain Bridge, and to authorize the withdrawal of $145,000 from the Moose Mountain Bridge Capital Reserve Fund, created by warrant article number 18 on March 15th, 2015, with an estimated value of $145,000. Majority vote is required. The selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Ed will speak to it.
This is a real easy one. All I have to say is ditto. It's the same thing. It's the rest of the funding to get us to the $207,000 to bring us up to the design phase.
All right, is there a motion on the floor for this article?
So move.
Donna Fawcett. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second for Ed. All right, I'll now open the floor for debate on warrant article 15. Yes, state your name. Can you say your name again?
Ed Ingles.
Ed Ingles.
Just noticing that 14 and 15, the nomenclature is different than the trust fund balances nomenclature. How do we deal with that?
What'll end up happening with that is both funds will have sufficient funds for the amount requested. Whatever residual is left over will be addressed next year and could possibly be closed out and roll back into offset taxes in 2027. That's next year.
I understand what we're doing.
Do you have a different question?
15 says Moose Mountain parentheses Bridge, CRF. There is no such fund. There's a Moose Mountain CRF 1 parentheses Bridge.
All right, when you're saying 15, what do you mean 15?
Warrant.
Oh, I thought, what are you looking at in your...
Page 88, the trust fund.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Megan Wilson.
Yeah, I think we had this last year. We had something similar last year as well.
Right. Actually, the wording in these articles are correct. They match the original warrant articles. The spreadsheet at the back is somewhat abbreviated so that it can fit in the box for this. It is, but these, we have the lawyer check them versus the original warrant articles. They are correct.
We'll figure this out at home.
All right, glad we don't have to deal with an amendment right now. All right, is there any further debate on this article?
There'll be no dinner tonight.
That's good reading comprehension, though. Is there any further debate on warrant article 15? Okay. Seeing none, are you ready?
I just have one.
Okay, right then to the
When Marshall over,
Yeah.
when we do this, assuming it's approved, how much is left?
Well, again, in each of those funds,
Just together.
it's just
So the $207,000 goes away, we spend it, how much is left?
it's going to be less than 10,000, I would guess. Each one will have a little residual money. And
Thank you.
more than likely we could go over the general fund.
All right, any further debate? All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes and Article 15 is approved. All right, moving on to warrant Article 16. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 for the purpose of implementing a phased approach to repairing the poor acoustic qualities of the townhouse and authorize the withdrawal of $10,000 from the Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund created by warrant number 27 on March 11th, 2015. Majority vote is required. The selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Austin is going to speak to the poor acoustics you're all experiencing right now.
So pretty much we've met with a few designers, what do you call it? the designer, engineer, they recommend ceiling tiles, new drapes, maybe some rugs in here. So this will be, wow.
You got it.
This would be appropriated towards helping fix the acoustics in here.
All right, do we have a motion on the floor for warrant article 16? Say your name.
Bill Nelson,
Bill Nelson.
just curious, because over the years we've spent.
Hold on, we got Ed on the floor first.
Oh, sorry.
So moved.
So moved. Ed is moved and seconded. Jim Lowry.
I'm sorry.
Bill, fire away.
We've spent a lot of money fixing the ceiling, fixing all these things. It's just a shame that we had to start putting more money at this time into fixing them. Again, that's it.
I'd like to make an amendment to one article.
All right.
I'd like to amend the $10,000 to $25,000 in both places.
All right, we will have to have that in writing.
Okay.
Doesn't work.
So literally rewrite the entire thing and then just put it in 25 where it says 10. Hold on, first we have to get the amendment and then we will talk about the amendment. We have to do the amendment first and then we'll discuss the amendment. Are you about to amend the amendment? Because we can't do that until we do the amendment first.
It's relevant, and the total right now in the town is like 23,701, so I don't know how you can track on that.
We still have to talk, we still have to deal with the amendment first, get the amendment on the floor, and then we can discuss that.
Could you speak up? It's a little hard to hear in here.
All right, for all the new people that just walked in, if you were not a town resident, you can't vote, it's a crime. But welcome. Yeah, once the amendment is written up, then we will go through the process of putting the amendment to everyone, and then there will be debate on it. Well, that's happening. Okay. All right, I'm now going to read the amended article, at which point I will ask for a motion in a second before we do any further debate on it. All right, so this is for warrant Article 16. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of implementing a phased approach to repair the poor acoustic qualities of the townhouse and authorize the withdrawal of $25,000 from the Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund created by warrant number 27 on March 11th, 2015. I'm assuming Rich would like to speak to this, yes, before we...
Yes. When we put the warrant together, we put a placeholder in for $10,000. Subsequent to that, we have the engineering report. And the most cost-effective first step would be $25,000, in my opinion now, to treat the ceiling, and that costs about $25,000. That's where we get the biggest return on the investment, as opposed to drapes, which I think are ballpark like $10,000, or carpeting. So the point behind the warrant article change is that would fund at least the first step of trying to deal with the acoustics in the building.
All right, do we have a motion on the floor for this amended article? We have to do a motion first to put it up. Like, we have a motion for this amended article. First.
I make a motion.
Yes. Say your name.
Marshall Gold.
Marshall Gold. All right, and we have a second.
Second, Jim Lowry.
Second, Jim Lowry. Now we will open the floor for debate on this amended article. Yes.
Ed Ingles.
Ed.
So there's 23,700 in the fund. I'm not sure how we would take 25,000 out of there. So I would suggest doing amending the amended article and say the balance instead of saying 25,000. Or can we take Article 17 prior to 16 so that we can put 10,000 in there and then there will be 25,000.
All right, let's continue this for debate first before we try to amend an amendment. All right. Yes, Bob.
Here, Bob Servatic. I'm sure you've thought about this. You've looked at it. Do you have any idea what the projected total of the whole project might be as we go forward with this? You're setting aside $25,000 now for what looks like the first phase. Do we know if there's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 phases? I'm sure you had to think about how much is this going to cost. Is there a guesstimate for the time or for a final tally on the entire project?
It's a good question. There's a whole list of things we can do. 1D, to move that furnace. It's a very loud furnace when it's on. There's drapes. Some of the proposed changes we just would reject outright. I mean, they're talking $70,000. We're not going to do that. They want proposed new chairs or maybe carpeting on the stairs, on the stage. If I had a ballpark from memory now, I would bet everything that they recommended that we could reasonably afford might be $35,000.
About 35.
And that would be ceiling and drapes. But Lord knows how long it would take us to decide on design and color for drapes. That would just fit your project.
So in other words, we're only talking maybe another $15,000, $20,000 on top of the $25,000.
If it doesn't give us the payback we want, and the way the report's written, every incremental change gives you a return on sound abatement. So if it's not sufficient, you might want to take the next step. He suggested we replace all the chairs. We're not going to do that.
I didn't want to hear $600,000 or something like that.
Either way.
Gus.
Has the committee looked at conventional methods of trying to alter the sound without having to go to a structure, a sound engineer? It seems like an extravagant amount of money to spend on this solution. I think there's enough talent in this community that people just, pull resources together and come up with design solutions. mitigate the problem? Without having to spend.
Well, we look for volunteers, and no one stepped forward. So we had to find a solution because we didn't have the expertise to do the engineering work. If there were engineers in town or acoustic people in town, they volunteered. So we got a report from an engineering acoustics firm that said, these are the things you can do to improve the acoustics in the room.
Yes, state your name.
Chris Fetter. I don't believe, but can you confirm, did this report address any kind of speaker system or microphone system?
The issue is, the echo in this room is 2 seconds. And the example that the engineer gave us was, I can't clap, but it doesn't go away. There's a 2-second delay where that sound continues to bounce off the wall. In the town, in the schoolhouse, it's in milliseconds. So that's why that room is so quiet and this one is so noisy. It's because of the hard surfaces. So a speaker system wouldn't help, it would just make it more difficult.
Yes, state your name.
Mike Moore. So respectfully, this is the first time I'm hearing about any issues with the acoustics in this room. So I'm not clear on how long it's been the opinion that there are issues in this room. I'm also not clear on what the issues are, opinion they need to be addressed. And I would say these aren't repairs, these are adjustments to existing conditions. This room, when it was built for public speaking. The 2-second decay time that Richard is describing is on purpose. You hear my voice, and you have an extra 2 seconds for your brain to process what I'm saying. So if you knock down that decay time, even by half, it's going to be harder to hear in here, not easier to hear in here when you're hearing a single speaker, which is primarily what we use this room for. So if we're using the room for a crowd setting like this, when we were just talking while the amendment was being written, it's harder to hear, but that's because a crowd of people is talking. So I'd like to know how long this has been an issue, whose opinion is it that it's an issue, and why are we just hearing about this now? I come to every town meeting, I've been here for 27 years, haven't heard about it. Thank you.
Ed.
As an example, when you first started to speak, someone on this side of the room cleared their throat, a minor cough. I lost the words that you said while that happened. So what happens is in that 2 seconds, your voice keeps coming back into my ear. And then I hear another voice coming from a different direction. They get muffled together. If it's only one time in, then I can hear that, and then I hear the next sound one time in. It's been a problem since the building was built. I mean, it's just the design of the building. And as far as it being a repair, if you got a building that's not functioning, and you got to do something to make it function properly, I consider that a repair.
So,
that's all you're here.
Again, I'm not answering my question. Whose opinion is it that it's a problem?
Mine. Anybody else have a problem with the acoustics?
Okay, it's just the way that it's being presented and the way it's being written. It's being presented as a foregone conclusion, or that it's assumed. When the question was called for, when the question was presented, there was no presentation about what it actually is. What's the problem? How long it's been a problem? Who are we talking to about fixing it? Those kinds of things. It's just, it was presented as a foregone conclusion. Oh, everybody knows the room has acoustic problems. I'm a professional sound engineer. I've been doing sound work for 30 years. This room is actually pretty well designed for what we're using.
Yes.
My name is Susan Weisky.
Thank you.
And I have an opinion on it. I became very concerned about the noise quality in this room by talking to neighbors, people who have difficulty hearing, who no longer come to the functions that we have in the room. It's not just a quiet meeting, and I consider this quiet in this room. It's also dinners, other social events. They don't come because they can't hear. I was also, when I first brought this up at a selectmen's meeting, I don't know when, a few months ago. Before that, another neighbor approached me and said it's not just a problem for the hard of hearing. It's also a problem for people who have ADHD and autism. This person told me that this person, when this person needs to be at a function in this room, comes at the last minute and leaves at the very first permissible minute, because this person can't take the sound, the noise of it. It's just unbearable. I think the room needs to serve all of our neighbors. So this became an issue for me. I hope we pass this.
Okay.
Chuck Dahl there. I was just wondering, for $25,000, how much of the ceiling would be covered by the acoustic panels? Would it be the entire ceiling, or just say the one area?
So there's a quick, can you speak to this, or?
Yes, I can.
Okay. And your name is?
Jan Ledbetter.
Okay.
When we brought the acoustic engineer in, he did talk about, and the preservation architect, they did talk about incremental solutions. And by the way, the drapery was $34,000. They gave us a 30% discount, so bring it down to $24,000. Other incremental, as Rich mentioned, carpeting the stage or putting rugs down, we view that as tripping hazards, and once we have to roll it up, where do we put those rugs? A number of other things, but the issue is it's a large room and there's all hard surfaces. There's not a lot of soft surfaces to absorb. So on the ceiling, we only need to fit 500 square feet. So panels here and panels there. It doesn't affect the smoke alarms. And that's a one and done solution. So that would get us to the goal of reducing the reverberation time. And just for a quick on that, reverberation time is the time that it dissipates 60 decibels in a room. And the goal would be like 0.7 to 1 second. And as Rich mentioned, right now in this room, so there's a lot of noise, and that would take it to, take it down to a level that's audible, which is about 60 to 65, 70 decibels. When everyone was socializing this morning and talking, I used a sound app, and that was 86. That's very loud. I measured last year, I think, at the town breakfast or the barbecue. That was 89. We've had 83. The planning board hearing that was held here, at some points it got to be 93 decibels. So we looked at that ceiling as a one and done. That way we don't have to buy things like velour curtains and rugs and putting up some kind of art in the back. And the reason the ceiling is because there's not enough 500 square feet on these walls, because you'd have to put up panels that are custom made to fit around the curves for the cove. And that is part of the issue in this room, is the cove and all the hard spaces. So it's fine if one person is speaking, but once we all start talking, and there are a number of events. And we also, by the way, we did put out an announcement to the town that we were meeting. We asked people to come. We did have people come. I wish I knew you were a sound engineer, because we could have tapped into you. Sorry, I should speak to you. And we also we posted the acoustical sound report and all the recommendations. There's a copy over in the town offices. I think Austin also has a copy of it. So that's just a quick overview.
Okay, any other, yep.
Brad Williamson. When we're talking about acoustic panels, we're talking about suspended ceiling type tiles, glued ceiling, we're talking panels actually hanging down.
No, they would be attached directly to the ceiling. It's not going to be a suspended.
No, it's tiles going flat up against the ceiling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Versus panels suspended on?
Yes.
Yes.
Straight up on.
Okay, before we move any farther, there was a question earlier about amending the amendment because in the capital reserve trust funds, if I was understanding the amendment earlier, we have $23,701.33, and I think there was some questions about that amount versus the $25,000 that's currently in the amendment itself.
So the next warrant article funds the trust fund. Can we go negative for a few minutes?
All right, so the two of them are related?
Yes, they are.
In and out. And it was, so respectfully, it seems like a plan that there's been some debate, so I don't know whether it's going to pass or not. I don't know. So can we take 17 before 16 or no?
Say that again?
Can we take 17 before 16 and pass that? And then we have the money to take 25 out?
We actually can table 16 if everybody agrees to it, to move it, to put it into a different order. We can table 16 to do 17 first, and if 17 passes, go and readdress 16, if everyone would like to do that. All right, if everyone would like to do that, say aye. Aye. Cool. No idea if I just did that correctly, but it makes complete sense. We're going to table 16, and I'm going to go over warrant article 17 right now, because this is our meeting. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to be deposited to the Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund created by warrant number 27 on March 11th, 2015. Majority votes required. The selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Austin is going to speak to it, even though we've talked a lot about this. Austin.
Pretty much we are asking to raise the $10,000 to put towards the acoustic problems.
All right, further debate. Well, first, is there a motion to address Article 17?
So maybe Brad Williams.
Brad Williamson, is there a second?
Anyway.
Ed Ingles. All right. I now open the floor for debate on 17. Yes, say your name.
Donna. I'm a little confused because at one point you were combining this building and that building. So is that still the case? And what are you doing to the other building? When you raised it to the 25,000, you added the other building and this building, lumped them together, is that correct? So the 25,000 is just for this building?
Yes.
That seems like a lot for ceiling tiles.
Second. Hold on. Yeah, please say your name.
Chris Veteran. Aside from the acoustical situation, are there other anticipated repairs that we would have to come out of this fund in the near future?
Did you hear that?
Yes, I want to do what Eddie want me to do. There's a whole list of improvements that have to be made to this structure in the future. They recommend we do something with the humidity in the basement out back. That's the one that's the most pressing is we've got too much moisture in the basement out back. But that's not big money. That's the humidifier, some sort of humidifier fans and plastic. But the answer to your question is yes. Are there major ones coming? Not that I've seen on the list. Not major. And what's major? $10,000 is major to me. I don't know of any major.
All right, can I ask you a follow-up?
Yes.
Clarifying question, Mike Moore.
Mike Moore.
So to Selectman, does that mean that the acoustic project in this room is the most pressing thing at the time for this building?
I would say so.
Yeah. If you want to use it effectively.
Any further debate on what? Yeah. State your name.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ed Camo, Stoneham Road. The right question to ask isn't if we need sound fixed or it mitigated, but do we wish to spend this much money on it? The amount of money that we spend on the engineering, somebody in town like me and a sound engineer could tell you if you put area rugs on the ground and you put some heavy drapes on the window, it would mitigate 90% of this problem. But instead we hired an engineer Now we're going to go down doing phases, which somebody said in the public, we don't really know what these phases are going to cost. And this town can barely get by with paying the school taxes, which went up so high. That's going to continue, unsustainable. But we're going to deal with the sound quality we could have spent. The money that we spent on the engineer could have spent on the items that we reduced it. So it's not that it needs mitigation, it's that we want to spend this money doing it. Thank you for hearing.
I have to agree.
Donna Fawcett.
Yeah, I have to agree though, because quite frankly, I've managed major buildings and put those tiles on the ceiling. This is an antique building, I just want you to understand, they're the most unattractive things you can possibly imagine. And they don't do that much to keep it sound. The other issue is, I happen to agree that if sound is such a problem for the public meeting like this, if you don't use this building all that often, that I know of, I could be wrong, I know, relatively. But my concern is, you know, you can spend $100 and rent the church hall, which other towns have done, and, you know, their acoustics are fine. You know, they have large spaces in the basement, and that would save a lot of money rather than having to spend money on a building that maybe you have one town meeting here.
Yes.
Bill Nelson, 10 Lightfoot Road. What would the carpeting cost and just do the carpeting to start? Anybody have a?
No, I just have the blueprints.
Jan Ledbetter.
Yes, carpeting costs.
Yes, thanks. We did look at carpet, and we'd have to do 500, well, if we just did carpet, we'd have to do 500 square feet. As you know, there's all kinds of carpet you could potentially do. You could do big rugs, you could do small rugs. But when we met again with people in the public, that was discarded as an option because of the concern about tripping hazards, keeping it clean. If anyone has been here on Thursday morning, we do yoga in this building. That means you have to roll up the rugs, you have to put them somewhere, which is why we set that aside and said that the rugs alone will not address the sound issue. It would have to be a number of the incremental solutions to impact the sound.
Any further debate on warrant article 17? All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question? Yes.
Yes.
All right, all in favor for warrant article 17, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, I'm gonna have to do a show of hands. Jim, if you can help me out with that, let's do that first. If I could not tell just by sound alone, all in favor, please raise your hand and leave them up there until we tell you not to. Okay.
C-29.
That's quick counting. All right, and all the nays, raise your hand. That's what I have too. All right, the ayes passed it. Article 17 passed 29 in favor, 23 opposed, and since a majority vote was required, Article 17 passes. All right, now we will go back to Article 16 as amended, and I'm going to read it again for everyone. Okay, so the amended Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of implementing a phased approach to repairing the poor acoustic qualities of the townhouse and authorize the withdrawal of $25,000 from the Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund created by warrant number 27 on March 11th, 2015. Majority vote is required. I need a motion on the floor to put the amended article back on the floor. All right, we have Ed, and we have Rich, and then do we have a second? Brad Williamson. All right, thank you. All right, further debate on amended warrant Article 16. Yes.
Just to clarify, the 10,000 we just voted on 17 is into the repair fund, not necessarily for acoustics. This vote now is for acoustics.
Correct. So the one that went through was Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund, which is also, well, no, it's the same fund. It's Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund, it's the same reserve fund.
It's the same fund, but we didn't clarify with 17 what it went to. It just went into the fund.
Correct. And now for amended Article 16, it's $25,000 coming out of the fund that we're speaking about. Yes. Rich.
And to Ed's point, when we're spending money like this, we want to make sure the town knows we're going to spend money like this and not keep it vague that we're reducing maintenance. That's why it's specific.
Yes.
Frank Fraser, point of order. Are we voting just on the amendment, or are we voting on the article as amended?
No, we're voting on the article as amended because before we tabled it, we had already put the amendment on the floor and that went through. So now we are voting on the amended article that I read into the record.
Just wanted to be clear.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
If it passes, will the work commence soon? And it's already out to bid and you've got somebody contracted?
Yeah, we have very good bids that have come in.
So the work would commence probably by the summertime, if it
I
passes?
think so. We would start next Tuesday, we'll put the bids out.
Okay, just asking.
Yes.
Mr. Moderator, next floor. You said that the amendment had already passed. I don't believe it had.
No, we're doing that right now. The process works, I have to read the original warrant article into it, put that on the floor. If somebody amends it, we then do the same process for the amendment. That's where we were last time when we tabled it. So the amendment was on the floor being considered.
Correct.
And then I just read it again into the record just to make it completely clear that we're going on the amended article right now.
But we're voting on amending the article, not the actual article itself.
I think he may have a point.
Yes.
I'm sure that we actually conducted.
Correct.
What you just said was we were voting on the amended article.
Amended article, yes, to go forward with it, yes.
So we're voting on the amendment.
Yeah, we're basically, if that passes, we're then going to do effectively the same thing twice.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you, Frank.
That is correct. Yes.
So with this project, you talk about phases. What is the time span between phases? Is it months? Is it weeks? And how many phases do you expect to have?
I didn't hear a name.
I'm sorry, Beverly Wyman Stratton.
Okay, what will be the timeline? Yep, Ed.
I'll try to answer that. The number of phases is going to end when we achieve the goal, which is to bring the reverberation rate down to a certain point. Maybe one phase. We put these tiles in that may do it to satisfy the requirements for this town. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a number of options. The biggest bang for the buck are the ceiling tiles. So if we do that one first, we may be done, we may not be done. And as far as when it's going to happen, if this passes, phase 1 would be this year. If it doesn't bring it down to where we want, I can't speak for the board for the future, but I would imagine nothing else would get done until it comes back to this body at another town meeting. That's the way I would envision it.
Yes.
Dr. Stratton, as far as the incremental fixes, have you figured out which measures would be most cost effective to start out with, or which would most effectively address the problem and tackle those first? Somebody mentioned drapes would be reduced significantly.
This one
Ceiling is
this is the biggest bang for the buck at this point.
Yes, Sterling.
Charlie Pace. I attended the meeting that was held on the sound reduction of the building, and there were multiple choices. Out of all the choices, the acoustic system, and it's not just acoustic tiles being stuck to the ceiling, it's an engineered system. Was essentially, as I remember, provided more reduction than all of the other items together. So that's where you start. Now, I have a hearing problem. In here, I can't hear much at all. In fact, I'll probably repeat things that people have said because I haven't heard them. If I stand outside talking to you with no reverberation, I can usually hear. In here, with all the sound bouncing around, even somebody's voice is a continuum. It's not just a simple snap of your fingers. So that's done. So if I listen to somebody like this gentleman over here, I hear what he said first, but then I hear something coming in when the next word you say is continuing. So with my hearing problem, which I hope nobody else in the building has, but I'm sure they do, I can't hear much. I took a look, in fact, if you ask my wife, you'd probably say I did 4 or 6 hours of investigation into the packet that was provided. The ceiling is the best thing that came out of the recommendations. I can see 3 people talking from 3 different ways. One is cost, need to minimize that. 2 is this is a historic building. I don't think we want to ever change it significantly, but things do evolve. I wouldn't want to see this turned into offices. But from a hearing standpoint, the acoustic system that would be installed may, to Ed's point, take care of the entire problem. All of the others were incremental. Things like putting acoustic tiles on both end walls, or putting rugs on all the floors, or putting in movable barriers that would have to be stored someplace, which we don't have here. So, from my point of view, this would be a huge step forward. I'm hoping other people join me in that thought.
Any further debate or discussion on Jan?
Jan Ledbetter, I'll just add one other thing. I do have the report here, and they did give us an incremental reverberation time comparison. So rugs, for example, on the floor would bring the sound down by 25%. New padded chairs, 38%. So you'd have to do a number of those things, and by the time you add up that price, it's more than what the tiles are. Anyone who wants this is welcome to look at it. And then I'll just add one other thing, and this is to Pam's point earlier about grants for the bridge. I've discussed with Rich, there is a grant that we can apply for that if we were lucky enough, grants are tough. You never know if you can do it or not, but we're going to apply for the grant, and that would cover potentially the entire cost. It's a non-matching grant, so depending on what happens here today, we would still be on the hook to pay for this, but if we can apply by the end of March, and it's a good funding source, so that's a possibility. We're really aware of the fact that this is tax dollars.
Any further debate on amending warrant Article 16? Martha, you do not have to stand up.
I
I stand
No, you don't have to.
good. I would like to say that it is worthwhile to do something about the sound here. If you have a dinner here, you have to shout at your table mates in order to have a conversation at all. And I have hearing problems too. And my church parish hall put acoustic tile in big squares like this on the walls. And it makes a difference because you could stand and talk to someone next to you and you'd have to shout because it's a new building. And it's perfect now. It really works. And they're just fuzzy tiles about this big. So it can be done and it will make a big difference. But we have never appropriated money without an estimate. And we're talking as though we're approving doing this now, and I think it's premature. And I have to find out how much that cost at the church, and I don't think it was a huge amount. And I think some of the people put the wall tiles in, actually. I mean, they're just big fuzzy squares. And it just cuts down on the echo. It's very simple. So I'm all for doing it, but not appropriating money for it until we know what we're facing and what we're doing.
Okay. Any further discussion from the selectmen on the costs issue?
Just
Jan.
quick, we went over to your church, we talked to the person who, I think, did the installation or coordinated the installation.
Yeah.
A much smaller room, it looked great, they told us that it worked well. The quotes that we got for product are the actual quotes. So the quote, there's one for plaster, and that was $76,000. That's the one Rich mentioned, that's a no-go. There's a quote for the product that we were looking at. It's a little over $12,000, but you need installation, so that's about the equal amount. It's about $12,500, so that's the total.
Ceiling.
That's the ceiling, right? And the last quote was roughly the same. That's the full product quote plus the installation. So those are solid quotes. The one quote that we got, that's the 12,000 tiles. From the you need a general contractor. The contractor gave us an estimate of $12,500, and he said he would just come back if this passes, look at it again, and finalize that quote. But I think that's a pretty close estimate. And that's, by the way, someone who lives in town who is a contractor, so knows the building. That's it.
All right. Any further debate? Yes. State your name again.
Beverly Weinstrand. I don't think that there is anyone here, whether you have hearing aid, your hearing compromised, or your hearing is 100%, that the sound is a problem. I agree with that. My issue is that the numbers are very nebulous. We just had, in my opinion, for me, in our household, an incredible tax increase. So I'm very guarded to go into something that I have no idea what the final number is going to be. It seems to me if you have engineers that can do all these numbers and blah, 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 that they cannot give you a solid answer as to what the cost would be and what the results would be. So my fear is that we're going into this kind of blind as far as what it's going to cost every individual household in Brookfield. Again, I'm all for it. It sounds wonderful. There's many things I would like to do on my property. But it again, my fear is the bottom line. We're people that pay our bills, and we need to know what the bill is going to be.
Rich, yes.
I really didn't want to go here, but I will. Our budget is 1.6 million. The big fat rabbit is Wakefield, $600,000. Then our roads come into play, $400,000 or $500,000. For every $100,000 we spend, our tax rate goes up 50 cents. That's the ballpark number that I use when we're trying to spend money and what's the impact on the town. I'm sensitive to the tax rate too, but this is not a really fat rabbit. If we spend $25,000, that means our tax rate is going to go up about 6 or 7 cents per thousand for this expenditure. It's not, it's just like the fat rabbit. If you want to really keep taxes down, we don't have a lot of options in down Gospel because we spend so much money on the other services. But the impact on the tax rate is maybe 10 cents. Maybe 10 cents, might even be less.
First.
I'll add to what Rich is saying too, in that we're going to take it out of the trust fund that's already existing, so it wouldn't necessarily be a new tax. The new tax comes in at 10,000, we just hold it in, put back into the trust fund. So there would be no immediate increase in the taxes as a result of doing that this year. To answer your point about what is the bottom line, we have numbers that take us all the way to the end that will get us to an acceptable level by engineering standards. The question is going to come by taking a phased approach. We're spending money a little bit at a time until we get to a point where we can tolerate the levels and accept what they are. It might not be their bottom line engineering number, but it's acceptable to the town. And it won't be done until you get another chance to say yay or nay. Okay, this is phase 1. Yay or nay today. Phase 2 is going to be a yay or nay next year.
Mr. Moderator, Mike Moore. I just wanted to argue the opposite point to what Rich just said. Respectfully, there are several large ticket items that we are paying for every year that we have much less control over. Rich mentioned the bill that we pay for police, fire, EMS, and sanitation to Wakefield. We're not in control of that. He didn't mention, but it's been mentioned today, the 1.7 million we're paying to the school district. Again, we don't have direct control over that destiny either. So I would say for things exactly like this, where we have the most control over it, we need to take a hard look. So I would respectfully push back on the point that it's not a big rabbit, but it's the rabbit that's in our cage that we can control how much we feed it. And so if we don't want a fat rabbit, we feed it less. If we want a fat rabbit, we feed it more. And so I'm concerned when I hear our selectmen say things like that, because you give lip service to the fact that you're concerned about taxes, yet the very things we can control directly as a town, like capital improvements and expenses like this, you're dismissing as not fat rabbits. So I just wanted to push back on that. Thank you.
Donna.
I'd like to call the
Donna
question
Foster.
and do it by hand vote. I said I'd like to call the question and have a hand vote.
I will do it by voice first, and then if I can't tell, then I will do it by hand vote.
Can you take one more?
Once it's done. Yes, of course.
Okay. Ed Commode, Stone Road. See, I have a process complaint about this whole project. And if I'm wrong, somebody tell me. I think if this was going to go forward at all, we should have been asked first. Because I believe the funding came right out of, I believe, the selectmen's budget to start this. Am I correct? Where did the initial money come from?
Come out of operating to do the engineering work, yes.
Correct. So the town never got to vote if we even wanted to start the project. Am I correct?
That's correct, but that's the selectmen's discretion, my friend.
So my process complaint is that if this happens again, someone should actually, as a town, we should decide if we want you to spend that money on this project. We're giving you discretion to expend money to do other types of things. I don't think it's this type of project to do that. I think there should have been a more of a, maybe a petition warrant article or a selectmen's warrant article put in so we could vote to see if we even wanted to start this project. That's what I think we should have done. That's just my comment.
And my comment would be, it's advertised at selectmen's meetings, the reports are at the selectmen's meetings, people don't come to the selectmen's meetings. We're always asking for input. So you do the best job you can with the data you have.
All right, any further debate on just amending warrant article 16 as we're discussing? All right, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right, all in favor of amending warrant article 16 as I read earlier, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
All right, let's do hands again. All right, all in favor, raise your hand, keep them raised until I ask you to put them down. All right, all opposed, same, raise your hand and leave them up until I ask you to put them down. All right, this was majority vote. The warrant article 16 was amended as I read earlier. So the amendment passes. I'm now going to read the amended article and then we will go through the process on that. All right, so amended article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 for the purpose of implementing a phased approach to repairing the poor acoustic qualities of the townhouse and authorize the withdrawal of $25,000 from the Townhouse Repair Capital Reserve Fund created by warrant number 27 on March 11, 2015. Majority vote is required. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Do I have a motion to put this on the floor?
So moved.
All right. Rich, and do I have a second?
Jim Lowry.
Seconded, Jim Lowry. All right, further debate on this topic. Yes.
John Hesham, Lyford Road. I was very pleased when I moved to this town. The community spirit here, town staff, the board, the planning commission, and also the community events here. So my wife and I have attended the brunches and the dinners. I found it almost impossible to hear the people sitting next to me. I edit videos for a living. I'm mixing sound all day long. I think I have near perfect hearing, and yet I could not understand people sitting 4 feet away from me, let alone the person sitting right next to me. So I found it really frustrating to come to those events because I really wanted to get to know more people in this town. See those social events as vital to this community. And so I'm in favor of adding the times.
Right. Any further debate on the amended warrant article? All right, seeing none, all opposed say aye. Oh, Jesus, well, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Nay. All right, let's do the hands again. It's honestly, it's because of the acoustics. So all in favor, raise your hand and leave them up until I ask you to put them down.
3-4.
Go ahead, Joe. And all opposed, raise your hand until I ask you to put them down. All right, so with 34 in favor, 19 opposed, this was by majority, so the amended warrant Article 16 the motion is carried, and the amended article has passed. All right, moving on to warrant Article 18. That has nothing to do with acoustics, by looking at it quickly. All right, warrant Article 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be deposited to the Road and Bridge Repair Capital Reserve Fund created by warrant number 11 on March 12, 1991. Majority vote required. Selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Ed is going to speak to it.
This is a reserve fund that we've had going for quite some time. There are always things that come up, frequently things that come up that you don't expect. Culverts are a good example. A flash flood can wipe out a culvert, wipe out a section of the road. This is here to help prevent or help repair those instances when they occur, so that it doesn't have a direct impact on the budget in any given year. So it's just putting a little money away for what may be needed in the future.
All right, do I have a motion on the floor to bring warrant Article 18? Go for it. Terry Ward. Daniel. Terry Ward. Terry Ward, do I have a second? Donna Fawcett. All right. And I now open the floor to debate on warrant Article 18. Yes.
Does this include paving?
Does this include paving?
And,
See
no.
that?
I hesitate a little bit when I say that. We're trying to think of an example of a bridge needs to be repaired, or a culvert needs to be repaired, and you had to patch the paving over the culvert after you replaced it. It would cover those costs as well. So not thinking paving is a direct result of a road bridge failure, and you'd have to pave it over as well. But it's not the paving.
And we put in the operating budget a line of $150,000 for paving. We do it every year, so we just said, let's budget it in the operating budget as opposed to go through the warrant article.
Any further debate on warrant Article 18? All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
Yes. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
All right, the ayes have it. The motion passes, and warrant Article 18 is approved. All right, moving on to warrant Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,000 to be deposited to the Property Reevaluation Common Expendable Trust Fund created by warrant number 10 on March 12, 2002. Majority vote is required, and the selectmen recommend this appropriation. Ed is going to speak to it.
The state recommends that the town do a complete reval every 5 years. And this money is going into a trust fund to pay for that at the end of the 5-year term. We had it done in 24, so in 29, we will accumulate roughly $36,000, 36 to 42. We don't know what the cost of that's going to be, but the last one I think was 30, 35? 30. Okay. So this will be enough, hopefully, to cover that in another 3 or 4 years.
All right, is there a motion on the floor to put warrant Article 19 on the floor? Do that again.
So moved.
All right. Ed, second. Say your name. All right. I now open the floor to debate on warrant Article 19. Yes.
I just wanted a point of clarification.
State training for the-
I'm sorry, Ed Camo, Stone and Road. The point of clarification is it's not a recommendation, it's in the Constitution that we must do this. So it's not a recommendation, we have
It's
to.
a requirement.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
A question.
Yes.
Terry Gauthier, which constitution?
The New
State
Hampshire
Constitution?
The state constitution. It's too bad that, there's also a part of the Constitution that's a 28A issue, because the state's telling us we have to spend money, but they're not providing us funds. That's why it's in the Constitution, forcing us to do it. Thank you.
And fun fact apropos of nothing, the state constitution predates the federal constitution.
Right.
Any further debate on warrant article 19? Yes.
And just to clarify, this is going to be an annual thing. If we don't do this because it's required, there'd be a $35,000, $40,000 item 4 years from now, whatever the next one is.
That was correct.
Any further debate, questions, clarifications? All right, seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, the motion carries. Our warrant article 19 has been approved. All right. Turning to the last one, warrant article 20. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,581,282. Good Lord, I'm gonna do that again. $1,581,282 for general municipal operations. This article does not include appropriations contained in special or individual warrant articles addressed separately. Majority vote required. The selectmen recommend this appropriation, and Ed is going to speak to it.
Mr. Lawler, I'll speak to that.
Yes, Ed, fire away.
The amount
The
read
acoustics.
represents the budget that we put together for the town, taking into consideration the things that we need to do to make this a comfortable and well-deserved place to live. It represents about a $36,000 increase over last year's approved budget. Most of that is coming out of a single line item, and that is the Wakefield Police and Safety budget. They went up about $60,000. So if you go through the budget, a few up, a few down, a few up, a few down. The overall effect, as I said, is $36,000 increase, and it's led primarily by the police and safety amount that we got paid in Brookfield.
All right, is there a motion to put this on the floor?
So moved.
All right, I heard Ed first, is there a second?
Second.
Brad Williamson. All right, I will now open the floor for debate on warrant article 20. Rich.
This is the expenditure side. There's a revenue side. We put our best estimate on. The revenue can go up and down based upon what's happening in the world. We have registrations for vehicles, we've got grants from the state, we've got current use changes, there's a whole host of revenues that we predicted. If they don't stand out, tax rate could go up. So if you read this number, you're going to say tax rate's going to be flat. We don't know that yet. We've got to watch the revenue side.
Yes.
Brad Williamson, I'm curious, the Wakefield figure is shown as a lump sum. Is Wakefield providing individual numbers, fire and ambulance?
I almost got it, so I heard that cough. I'm sorry.
Does that include fire and ambulance? Is that what you're asking?
Did Wakefield break out fire, ambulance, and police, so that they distributed one aggregate number?
I'm sorry, I'm still.
Basically,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
They give us a spreadsheet where all the costs are allocated.
Do you know what those figures are now?
Not right now, but we can have shared spreadsheet with you.
I'm just curious why they weren't broken out in the report.
Because this is what the state requires. This is the state form.
I understand, but there's a line 4210 for police, and then 4215 for ambulance. Ambulance is zero, everything is on 4210.
The 6
635? Yes, 636.
Can you point to the pages you're speaking of?
21.
We should have split that out. We have those numbers, we should have split that out.
Are you talking about the police line items?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, further debate on warrant Article 20. All right, I'm seeing none. Are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. All right, the ayes have it. Motion carries. Warrant Article 20 has passed. All right, that was the last warrant article, but we have a number of presentations that I believe are going to occur. We'll do the selected presentations first before I close the meeting, and then there will be additional things afterwards as well. That was not specific. There'll be a couple other presentations afterwards.
There's a lot of people in town that do a lot for the town. And what we'd like to do when someone has said it's time for me to move on is to show our appreciation for the time that they have given to the town. We do have an individual this year that has given up the ghost. And in recognition, I will present this platter to Cheryl Perry in recognition of the years of service as supervisor of the checklist in the
Amazing timing. And I believe we have another presentation. We have one more. Or more.
Ed's last meeting as selectman, we want to thank you, Ed, for your 3 years of work on the board, and we've got a plate for you. Your 3 years dedication to the town, so thank you very much.
All right, I'm about to conclude town meeting, but there's a few more presentations that are going to happen afterwards. And as a reminder to everybody, anyone who was elected on Tuesday, you need to meet with me after this to get sworn in. But that now concludes the 232nd Brookfield Town Meeting. Thank you, everybody.
I know why you guys are here.
Oh, yeah, let me show you.
What we've done is we've set our first program, and that's going to be on May 23rd. It's going to be our Memorial Day program, and what we're going to do is we're going to pay tribute to 77 veterans who are buried in 33 of our 72 graveyards. So in the back and in the front, there's a flyer. Please pick one up, make a note. In other words, this is a presentation on the big screen. I know it's going to be terrific because I know the guy who's going to put it on, me. So you don't want to miss this. May 23rd. We got another, we got one more here.
Love the sweatshirt, right? We're taking orders, we're like, have them delivered every we'll be delivering them sometime early this summer, depends on how many orders come in. You don't have to pay today, you don't pay until you get the sweatshirt. But we do need to have your name, your phone number, what size you want, and what color. And on the back table in there, where I will be momentarily, is an order form. So come on down, get your sweatshirt.
And that includes confirmation. We do the town cleanup every year in April, town cleanup day, around Earth Day. Earth Day is the 22nd this year. So Saturday, April 18th, the Conservation Commission will be here. It's also a good time to get your dog licenses on the same day, because the town clerk will be open that Saturday morning for dog licenses. And the theme this year, so if please participate in town cleanup. You can bring your bags of stuff you collect along the roadways. Bring them here, we'll take it to the dump for you. If you find big things like a tire, bring it here, we'll take it to the dump for you. So that'll be, that's a whole week. You can put it out right behind by the door of the garage, right over there. And leave it during the week. So it's not just that one day, it's that whole week you have to do it. And the theme this year is going to be bluebirds. We're going to have a lot of information on bluebirds, and also there's going to be some bluebird houses, and if you've got little ones, bring them. There might be some bluebird house kits available for little ones to put together. So that'll be Saturday. We'll be here from 9 a.m. to 10, 11, whenever we decide to leave. So thank you.
That would have helped when I was slamming the table with my palm. There was, at one point, I think the first year.
This is to my phone. What were we going to get together to do this with? Yeah. Yeah. I still in the closet.
Do I have everybody? Because Devin's got to go to work.
I do.
Rose, can you ask people that have been, you got it. This is smart. Yeah, that's a good idea. Donna, Bertie, where's Steven? Jan, get in here. Have you seen Meg? There's Meg. There's Meg.
All right.
I'm Catholic. Hi,
Steven.
We've met before, exactly.
Is Steven Berry here or not here? I don't remember. Steven Berry.
I didn't see him today. I didn't see him.
He might not be here. That would be something that
Thank you.
Thank you. So you doing okay? Doing okay. Yeah, Steve's not here. Yeah.
One or two more, I just yelled at. Bertie's here.
Yeah, Bertie's here.
Yep, here she comes.
There's Bertie, Christine. Is Christine? Where's Christine?
Oh, I didn't see her.
I don't think
I didn't see her. Sorry.
I think I've got everybody that's here. No Christine, no Steve.
Mr. Moderator,
Yep.
I still think this would be really good to do it on stage as part of the presentation.
It could be fun. I think you said it last year too, and it would be fun. Just it's harder for everyone to hear. The acoustics, I know.
Yeah, and everyone else still wants to talk.
I can't hear anything now.
All right. So everyone is going to repeat after me.
Okay.
All right. Everyone's going to repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly and sincerely swear and affirm that I will bear faith and true allegiance to the United States of America and the state of New Hampshire, and will support the Constitution thereof. I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all duties incumbent upon me as insert the role you're going to have for a term of whatever your term is, according to the best of my abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of this Constitution and the laws of the state of New Hampshire. So help me God. All right. You guys are official. I will put this down right here so everyone can start signing. Donna, you're signing. You just need to sign the top line. You just sign the top line, and then I will come back and take care of it afterwards for everybody. Yeah, sign on.
Thanks for your service. Well done.
It's always fun. Yeah, I actually just, the New Hampshire Bar Association honored me with a community service award that goes to one attorney who's either a solo to a four-person law firm for the entire state that covers tens of thousands of people with the community service award. Named after Vicky Bonald, who was a judge up in the North Country that got murdered by somebody after she tried to get someone to meet She wasn't even a judge, got back to she got murdered by the guy she saw her assistant, as he was telling me, saved a number of other people. The editor of the paper tried to stop the guy who was stealing because two police officers and the Vermont State Police took him out. This was in the 90s or 80s. I never met her. But the gravity of how big of a deal it didn't really hit me, or imposter syndrome stuff wasn't letting me until I was doing a speech for 400 and before I started talking about community and other things, I stopped doing my service and she's like, this guy was going to be crying during work, so all of a sudden I'm just looking up and that's great. It was a little overwhelming after like it. Yeah. Yes, I was wondering if that was you, because I just wanted to find you walking in, I was like, did she go to law school? Nice. Just leave it right there and then I have to sign it. Don't feel bad. Just kidding. Are you enjoying it? Did you enjoy it? like really love Vermont.